purpose of this presentation is to provide a brief overview and encourage principals to implement instructional rounds practices and procedures in order to improve and support high-quality teaching and learning. Instructional rounds and the contents of this presentation are based upon research by City, Elmore, Fairman, and Teetle. The approach is compared to medical rounds where doctors would visit patients and observe and discuss possible treatments. With instructional rounds, educators emulate the practice of doctors' rounds. Educators visit classes together with well-defined protocols and then compare notes to diagnose and prescribe solutions. The focus of the learning is in the work and the discussion that occurs within each step. Specifically stated from the text, you learn the work by doing the work. Instructional rounds in education helps assist educational leaders and teachers to develop a shared understanding of high-quality instruction. There are 4 elements of instructional rounds. They include a problem of practice, observation of practice, observation debrief, and next level of work. The problem of practice is developed before the rounds visits. It's something the staff cares about and impacts student learning. The problem of practice becomes the focus for the walkthroughs. The observation of practice includes a set of very specific protocols and procedures for the walkthroughs. The debrief is where the real work begins, and this is where teachers review their notes and highlight what they saw through the filter of the problem of practice. The debrief includes a summary of findings. The next level of work focuses on how the school should address findings with specific actions and follow-up. Although each school typically adds some of their own personality, there is a set of common elements that are consistent throughout all instructional rounds networks. Adding an element that enhances one of these 4 elements is acceptable, but taking out any one of these 4 will not produce a high level of learning or reflection. If done poorly or briefly, it's just another initiative that will not produce results and will produce lack of trust. It's important to communicate the rounds process with the staff prior to the visit. It's also important for staff to understand the purpose. You can start by discussing what instructional rounds can and can't do. Instructional rounds is not a program to evaluate teachers. It is not an implementation monitoring tool or a training on supervision skills. It is not passive or judgmental. Instructional rounds is a process. It is collaboration to create coherence, and it is a community of practice, learning from each other and supporting each other. Instructional rounds is descriptive, and it is a special kind of walkthrough, a professional network, and an improvement strategy, all rolled into one practice. Communicating the goals and following through with keeping true to those protocols is vital to developing trust, collaboration, and participation in future instructional rounds. It's also important for both those observing and those teaching to understand that data will be collected free of judgment and evaluation. Here's an example of the differences between judgment and description. Judgment examples include data collected such as this. Excellent classroom management. Teacher asked many high-level questions. Description examples include all students shared their answers with their shoulder partner. Teacher asked, "Can you show me another way to solve the problem?" Remember that collecting fine-grained evidence is best. Wondering why to use instructional rounds? Is the work really worth it? You'll find instructional rounds will take school improvement to the next level. It'll build a common understanding of effective learning and teaching. It also reduces the variability in teaching. The focus will be on the work and the student rather than the teacher, and educators will be in charge of their own learning. And finally, you'll have some data and some feedback which can inform your professional development and next steps. Here are a few real-life reflections from a recent visit to Pioneer. Notice the high level of comfort and trust shared with these reflections. One teacher wrote, "I was reminded of this quote, 'The biggest obstacle in learning is a talking teacher.' I saw today a big shift in students encouraged and expected to speak. I see that we have learned to be better facilitators of learning. Another teacher wrote, I can see that all of us are taking risks and trying out what we learned through professional development. I appreciate the opportunity to see other teachers implementing what we have learned. Finally, I encourage you to research more about instructional rounds on your own. I'll be happy to include you in a visit to another site and assist you in planning and implementing your own instructional rounds walkthroughs. I have many insights and lessons learned to share. I also encourage you to talk to other principals that have been involved in this process. I'm confident you will find this approach will create better learning opportunities and outcomes.